He told you that I told my son on this fraudulent audio to go get a knife. I sat right there and showed you that he told my counsel when they went and deposed him for deposition. Miss Carolyn Schindler and Jennifer Bradley asked him, "Did your dad tell you to go get anything?" He said, "No." But all of a sudden, Thursday of trial, he's saying all of these things and accusations towards his dad. His real dad.
Welcome, cartel members, anons, Facebook friends, Twitter followers, random YouTube viewer. Thanks for joining me. My name is Julio and I am the Theorizing Theorist. And today we're going to be going over this closing argument of Mr. Oneal here, the defendant, being accused of murdering his own family. Now, in the last video, I was going over some of the stuff without knowing much about the case, and I learned a little bit more, and it sounds like the man is guilty. Okay, so if anybody is wondering, what I'm thinking or where I'm going with this, I don't want to argue or discuss any of that really. I'm just here to discuss his closing argument because that's all I saw, and he brings up lots of valid points. Now, I saw that he was saying something about a white demon was in his wife and he killed his wife, maybe supposedly or alleging that he was protecting his, I don't know, but and also there was some stuff on his Facebook, I guess, where he was claiming to be part of the Nation of Islam, or I don't know, something like that. So it makes sense of him saying Allah Akbar. Now, I don't know what his defense is to that. I don't know if he said that that wasn't me, or if he's saying, yeah, I was a different me, I was just a different person then. I don't know what his argument is for all of that. And I will dig into that. I'm hoping some of y'all help me out and comment down below. Let me know what you guys know that is somewhat factual, obviously. Just comment down below, and if I see a general consensus of something, I'll take it somewhat as factual, or at least being public opinion, right? Or public fact, I guess. Because again, the only thing that's factual in this world, in this life, to me at least, is God. So everything else is probable, plausible, possible. Just depends on how you want to look at it. So with that said, let's dive into this closing argument. I'm going to show you the whole thing, and I want you guys to let me know what you guys notice, what you guys hear, and pay very close attention to his evidence in his defense there, because I'm telling you, he does a really good job. Not really good job, but he does a good enough job to create a reasonable doubt, beyond a shadow of a doubt. I don't know. You guys let me know again in the comments down below. Also, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, share, follow, all that good stuff. Again, the comment section is where all the fun happens. So if you're not down there, you're missing out. If you're just watching these videos, please just go down there and say hello. That's all you got to do, and we'll take care of the rest. We'll welcome you, and you'll be chatting away before you know it. So please comment down below. Also, if you guys want to donate to the channel to keep the fun going and keep the channel alive, thriving, and well, and all that good stuff, well fed, please consider donating any and all dollars you may have extra hanging around that you don't use or don't want or don't need. Now, if you're living check to check, please don't worry about it, guys. Just hit the like button. But if you're blessed enough to donate, please consider donating. The links are down below in the description box. There's a PayPal link, a Cash App link, and a Venmo link. Sorry about that. I like to call them my tip jars. So please check out my tip jar links down below, and check out the rest of this video that I'm about to show you of the closing arguments, and comment below your thoughts again. So as always, you guys know the routine. To God be the glory.
Why would I want the kids to be mine if I plan to kill them? Now let's look at it. Y'all Baron made a call at 11:42. You see, she called me at 11:15. You see, her brother called her at 11:53, but in between those, that 911 call should be right there. And you have to ask yourself why that is. you look up a little bit, you see 342 on March 19th going out. Let me slide it over a little bit so y'all can see. Going out to 911. Kenyatta Barron was definitely dead on March 19, 2018 at 3:42. So how in the world could she call 911? Now, they say, oh well, the calls are reflected in UTC time. This is the girl's actual phone. Everybody knows that when you call 911 or make any call, that call is going to reflect in standard Eastern Standard Time. Because that's the time that we operate on. Now, this doesn't even make any sense at all. Now, I'm going to come back to this, but I have to show you Kenyatta Barron T-Mobile call log, which we pulled from the records that they sent to us, me and my standby counsel. So I have to show you her T-Mobile call log. Defense exhibit number 4, Your Honor. May I publish?
Yes.
Publishing Defense exhibit 4A. Now let's look at this. Apparently, the T-Mobile call logs are reflected in not only military time, but according to them, UTC time. But I'm going to prove that wrong right here, right now. .318. Here we are again. The date of the incident. You can see there's no 911 call. You see the call at 23:15, which she made to me, which shows that the calls are really reflected in Eastern Standard Time in regular time, not you.
Yo, salute to the chat, man. This is the closing arguments of Ronnie Oneal, man, which is being charged with killing his wife and his daughter and attempted murder on his son. And he's actually representing himself in this trial. And I thought I'd bring this to the people so y'all can see what's going on here, because I think he's doing a pretty good job, but I'll let y'all watch. Salute to the chat room. Triple, what's going on? Jackie, what's happening? Taryn Heron, what's happening? What's going on with you? Bond Dog D, I see you first in the building. I see you.
UTC time. They claim that since she made a call at 11:42, that it should appear as 3:42 on the call log. That's what they said. So military time, 23:42 would be 11:42. So let's do the math. They say UTC time is the time plus 4 hours. So she made a call at 23:42, which is 11:42 in Eastern Standard Time. 23:42, 24:42, 1:42, 2:42, 3:42. And that's why you see on her T-Mobile call log, on her actual phone call log, 342. Right there. Her calling 911. Okay? Now let's look at it. Let's look at it. You do not see a 2342 right here on her call log on 318. But you see the call she made to me at 11:15.
Yeah, this is a death penalty case. Who said that? Angie. This is a death penalty case. So he's fighting for his life. His life is on the line here. But he's trying to say that they set him up. He's saying that phone calls was made after this girl was supposed to have been dead. And we need to clear all that up.
At 3:42 on March 19th, since 2342 would be 1 hour from March 19th. So if you count the 4 hours, you will end up over into the next day at 3:19. Okay, so let's look at that. It was reflected in UTC time. And Yada Baron's phone call would be this 4A still. Okay.
Yeah, Angie, his son actually sealed the deal for him, if you ask me. I think that was the major mistake that he made by calling his son to the stand and then questioning him, because the jury will never forget what his son said. And his son said, yes, you stabbed me.
All right. You see there's no call there. 2315. In between 2315 and 2353. No 911 call. Okay, it's UTC time at 3:42. Okay, let's go there. There's no call at 3:42 in between that 104 and 350 on March 19, 2018. Mention exhibit number 6, Your Honor, may I publish?
Yes.
Okay. Detective Dirks testified on the stand that his whole purpose for obtaining this subpoena for records, this is the subpoena for records that Detective Dirks sent to T-Mobile. Just look at it with me. I asked him, right in front of you, I said, Detective Dirks, what was your purpose for obtaining the T-Mobile call logs or for subpoenaing the T-Mobile call logs from T-Mobile? He said, because there were 911 calls made. Okay, my next question to Detective Dirks was, if that was your whole purpose, then why are the most important calls of this case missing from the call log? He couldn't answer that for you. And he beat all around the bush because they don't want you to know that they are crooked and corrupt. And they know that they could not meet their such high burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So they tampered with the face of Kenyatta Barron and put all these extra lacerations on her face. And whoever did it is definitely gonna pay. You better believe. Now he sent this subpoena to T-Mobile telling them, please provide subscriber information and all incoming and outgoing toll information for target numbers 813. Well, this one was Kenyatta Barron's phone at first, 765.
And this is live right now, y'all. You understand me, people? This is live. We're watching this live right now.
23rd, 2018. So that 911 call, since it was made on March 18, 2018 at 11:49, should have definitely been on her T-Mobile call log, which I just showed you it is not. All of a sudden, after I heard the audio and I told my counsel that's BS, I didn't say those things. And as a matter of fact, I told the neighbor, don't come outside, call 911 now. But they took my voice off of there and made it sound like Mr. James Gray was the one said, don't come outside, call 911. He was saying that to his wife. But you seen, I showed you the CRA that Detective Dirks did. He quoted me saying she killed me and then directed the neighbor, don't come outside, call 911 now. But on the audio, they took my voice off of there saying that and made it sound like it was the neighbor, Mr. James Gray. Now why would they do something like that? The 911 call should have definitely been on there because it was part of the total information that he requested. These are both subpoenas from my phone and Kenyatta Barron's phone. Now let's get into my call. Defense Exhibit 2. Y'all know me, I published?
Yes.
Defense Exhibit 2A. They told you that my phone was damaged in a fire. I know for a fact when I got arrested,
I'm gonna sustain the objection. Again, you're limited to the facts that were introduced at this trial in your closing argument.
Did testify that it was burned in the fire.
Mr. Oneal, please don't argue with me. Just follow my instructions, all right?
Then you know that part of that was legitimate.
And again, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, your recollection of the evidence controls, all right? This is just the closing argument of the sides. You may proceed, Mr. Oneal.
Thank you, Your Honor. I made a call to 911. Supposedly, they made it look like I made a call at 2349. I know for a fact I made it early.
Judge, objection.
Wait a minute. If the detective testified in this trial that his phone was burnt up in the house, then why can't he say that in his closing argument? I don't understand that. And then she's gonna say, don't argue with me. See, a judge, you're just there to oversee the case. You're just there to oversee and make sure things go the right way. She's not deciding this case. There's a jury there that's gonna decide this case. And I don't understand why wow. That's amazing to me.
I'm going to sustain the objection. Again, Mr. Oneal, you can only argue in closing argument facts that were elicited at trial. This is not where you come in and start filling in additional facts.
Yes, ma'am.
And you've been instructed about this numerous times. Please follow my instructions.
Okay, Your Honor. Couple of things. He said that it was the actual fact that I killed my daughter. That's not an actual fact that was proven in trial. I didn't object, but neither did they stop. You stopped them.
Mr. Oneal, please don't argue with me.
I'm not arguing.
Please just direct your closing statement to the jury. That's what you need to be doing, not arguing with me.
Right. made a call at 23:49. Here again, on my call log, let me pull this up and zoom in for you so y'all can see this. What's actually going on in Hillsborough County. Okay. You see the call that I showed you, me and Kenyatta shared at 23:15. We talked to each other. You see that, and it's reflected on March 18, 2018.
23:15 is 11:15 at night, 11:15 p.m.
We called each other. It's not reflected in UTC time, but that's what they claim. But I'm going to show you that the calls are neither on here in Eastern Standard Time nor UTC time. Okay? Exhibit 2B. My call should have been right there. It goes over to this next page. You see 23. Oh, sorry. You see 23:15. And then I have the next page starting at the top. It's 12:52. No call. Hold on one second. Yeah, no call at 23:49.
He said 23:15 in top. He said 23:15. That's 11:15 p.m., brother.
McLean, she said that we both made those calls. And my call was made at 23:49. But on this T-Mobile call log, you do not see 23:49. Because they removed it from the call log after I called for an investigation. They said, okay, you see this 348 here? This 348 says outgoing by me, my number 369-2575, to my dad, 406-3445. I made a call to my dad. I know that I made the 911 call before calling my dad. But you do not see the 911 call there. Now they say, since I called my dad at 23:48, it should actually be right there after the 23:15. Okay? You do not see any more 23s, but I made a call to my dad at 23:48, and I made a call to 911 at 23:49, but you don't see both of those calls.
So he's saying they erased his 911 call. They saying he listen. And I want you to understand, this guy actually admitted to killing his wife, but he's saying they're not putting the full facts out there. And if you're gonna do a trial, put the truth out there. He said he did it, but they're not. He's saying they're not putting the whole truth out there.
And he also kept calling me back because it was an emergency. It was an emergency, and he knew something was wrong, so he kept calling me back 4 times. Why don't you see my dad calling me back. Those 4 times at 23:48, you only see 23:15. Going back in. And this is, see, they separated the paper like this so it'll be difficult to show you. But ain't nothing too hard when you put your mind to it. 23:15. Right after it, you see no more 23. Now why is that? I called my dad at 23:48. He called me back at 23:49. He called me back again at 23:50. You don't see that up there. It jumps to 12:52 in military time. It's a bunch of calls missing from 23, the hour of 23, which is the hour of this incident. Now I'm going to just say this one more time. They said that the calls are reflected in UTC time, which means if I called 911 at 11:49, it would show up 23:49, 24:49, 1:49, 2:49, 3:49. Okay. But how is that? Again, I already showed you plainly. Everybody knows that when you make a plain call, it shows up in standard Eastern time. But I'm going to prove it to you even further that the calls don't show up in no UTC time. She made a call to her brother boss. She made a call to me at what time? 11:15. She made a call to me at 11:15 at 3:18. Military time. And y'all Baron called me right there at 3/18/2018. So the calls ain't reflected in no UTC time. They made that excuse so they could try to get out of the truth of what happened that night.
Thanks for that Cash App. I see you said don't mention your name. Thanks for that Cash App. Appreciate you.
That I was going to let counsel represent me, so it would have never got out.
Evidence. Sustain the objection. That's an improper statement in closing argument. Don't make it again, please.
He told you about my sons. And you're going to have those exhibits for yourselves so you can go over it and take your time looking at it yourselves to see whether I'm lying or not. I just showed you, but you're going to have those exhibits along with you when you go back. He told you that my son testified that I stabbed him. And you heard him. He did say that. But on March 26th, he told Detective Dirt, after Detective Dirt asked him, did your dad hurt you the night of the incident? And he said, no, he did not hurt me. This is official documents, recorded under oath by the lead detective in this case. They already knew that. But ain't no telling what done happened from then to now that he's saying all this all of a sudden. Because he's been adopted by Mr. Richard Blair, who worked in the case, and he also was at homicide conventions in Walt Disney World and the Bucks game with the lead detective in the case, who had no business around him if they planned on calling him as a witness. Because who can prove to me that he was not coerced and compelled to say what he said that day?
That's a fact, Jackie. One of the detectives, one of the detectives actually adopted his son. So once one of the detectives adopted his son wasn't even supposed to be able to take the stand, because who knows what they, coercing this boy to say. So he has a major point. He does.
Talked to you about the blood on the floor, and he talked to you about the blood in the clothing in the garage. Okay. I went in and got my son, and we came out of the garage. And he was hurt, bleeding. So, of course, his blood is going to be on the floor on those clothing where he was leaking blood.
And check this out. They even changed the son's last name. They changed his last name to the cop's last name. So now his son's last name is no longer Oneal. It's Ronnie Shields or something like that. So that's a major conflict of interest when it comes to this case, because the lead detective actually adopted this man's son. So how can you put him on the stand? That's amazing to me. Amazing.
He told you that I grabbed an axe and beat my daughter or chopped her to death.
Ice Monkey CEO, ain't no link, brother. I'm focused on the topic right now. There's no link right now, but maybe later on, if you do a show, I'll probably come over to your show, man. But right now, this is not about that.
They told you nothing but accusations and assumptions and guesstimations. They have not proved beyond a reasonable doubt that I killed my daughter or stabbed my son. Because for the bottom line is, my son said something different to what he already said, so that's a reasonable doubt right there. He told you way in the beginning when I wanted, say that because I know you're going to object to that. But he already said that I did not hurt him. He told you that I told my son on this fraudulent audio to go get a knife. I sat right there and showed you that he told my counsel when they went and deposed him for deposition. Miss Carolyn Schindler and Jennifer Bradley asked him, "Did your dad tell you to go get anything?" He said, "No." But all of a sudden, Thursday of trial, he's saying all of these things and accusations towards his dad. His real dad. You sat right there and seen when Ronald Gale got up to question my son. The first thing he asked him, "You like to play games?" And he talked about dogs. My son said, "My favorite game is Black Ops." and I tried to get into games,
Judge,
this is what happened in
this
trial.
didn't happen.
I'm gonna sustain the objection.
Your Honor, this didn't happen?
Mr. Oneal,
He asked him-
please don't argue with me. We had a colloquy
Well-
with the child outside of the presence of the jury, and I think you're confusing those two. Please just stick to the evidence that the jury heard. Thank you.
Okay. I believe the jury was sitting right here.
I know.
But
Please
I'm not
don't-
going to argue with you.
Thank you. Thank
All right.
you. Please just continue on.
Yes, ma'am. He talked about me smelling like gasoline. If you was doused with gasoline like I was doused and set on fire,
Judge, objection.
you would have been smelling like gasoline
Facts
too.
not in evidence.
Again, this is Mr. O'Neill's argument based upon his interpretation of the facts. The jury can decide whether they find that to be a credible argument or not. All right? You may proceed, Mr. Oneal.
Thank you, Your Honor. It was justifiable homicide. And they knew that they could not prove me guilty beyond their such high reasonable doubt that they had to meet. So they tampered with the evidence. I called my witness, Khalil Brown, to show you they tampered with the evidence. And it's little me up against the machine. So it's hard to prove something when they're all working together. But I called my witness, who bear witness, I only hit her 3 times. But you hear a video and audio of me hitting her 15 or 11 to 15 times. Insane. I already had admitted to killing her from the jump. I called 911 and said I just killed her because she attacked us. What I got a lie for? That's why I called Khalil Brown. And that's why I called 911. And you wonder why I called my dad? Because people do things like this to us. I told you that Kenyatta Barron and my other child's mom have been arguing back and forth the whole day, while me and my son was at my mom and dad's house working on their cars. The evidence showed you that, as my dad, Mr. Smith, and Aisha Robinson, my son's mom, testified to those things. So the evidence showed you she had ill will or evil intentions. I told you Kenyatta Barron killed my daughter and attacked us. And the evidence shows we all had been cut and we all were burned. I told you that Kenyatta Barron had multiple drugs and medications and drugs, including deliriogenic morphine in her system. And the medical examiner, Miss Mary Mainland, testified to that. You have to realize they will say anything to meet their burden of proof. Mr. Harmon told you he lied to you and said that my son witnessed me shoot his mom and beat his mom to death. I told you that my son did not see me shoot him and beat her to death, that he really didn't see much at all. And the evidence showed you not only that I was telling the truth, but also that his testimony was contradicting and inconsistent to what it was just days and months after the incident. The firefighter, Mr. Donald Foster, and Mr. Christopher Sanders testified that the house was engulfed in flames and filled with black smoke. And he also told you how he had to crawl on the floor and feel around because you couldn't barely see in front of you, and he only could see from the cab down. This is another reason to doubt what my son was saying, though he's already been inconsistent and told you I did not hurt him. This is another reason to doubt that he actually saw what happened to him and who did it to him. As you saw, he testified that I was standing over him in the match. But I reminded him that he did an interview with my counsel and told them that he did not see me set any fires in the house. Nor did he see me, he told Jennifer Miller, nor did he see me pour any gasoline. The firefighter told you that when he looked in, he could only see from the cab down. When you hear this audio,
Sunday, March 18, 2018, 23:43 and 10 seconds.
listen to the background.
What is the address you're at? Hello, ma'am.
What you hear in the background is the fire alarm going off.
Where's the gun? Who did this? We have deputies on the way. Who did this?
You'll hear it in the background. You'll hear it in the background. Even though it's a fraudulent audio, anyway, you hear the alarm in the background. That means if I was outside, all that time in the inside, the fire is burning, and then I run outside, and then I come back in, that fire has been burning a long time. The fire was burning before we went outside. So my son might have not seen who actually did the stabbing to him. He told you that he seen me drag his sister from her room to his mom's room. I showed you in the interview under oath with Detective Dirk. He said, was your sister hurt before or after your mom and dad runs outside? He said, before. She's already hurt in her mom's room before we run outside. You hear the fire alarm going off before we went outside. But Mr. Gale here told you that I ran back in immediately and set fire. And he told you that I wasn't cut or burned yet because I hadn't set the fire yet. But you hear a fire alarm before we even go outside.
Mr. Oneal, I don't wish to interrupt you, but it's now 12:20, so I am going to take a lunch recess at 12:30. I just wanted to let you know.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't mean to interrupt.
Yep. Come on up. Do any of you need to take a comfort break? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Oneal.
I told you that my son was diagnosed with developmental delay.
No, object. There's no facts and evidence.
I'm going to sustain the objection.
Your Honor, Miss Carol Lilly testified to that on the stand.
All right, again, I've sustained the objection. The jury can rely upon their own recollection of the evidence, all right?
Your Honor, I told them that in my opening statement.
Please don't argue with me. I have sustained the objection.
I understand. And everybody gonna understand in just a little while. Better believe it. Watch. I told you that my son was adopted by detectives who worked in the case. And they went through all of these things together. He had no right or business around my son, neither on duty or off duty, because his interviews were already taken. You're the lead detective in this case, working with the state, and you're going to outside agendas with my son, who you called against me as a witness. And this is after his interviews are already taken. No one cannot tell me he was a bribe to say what he said. I told you the evidence would show you that they lied about the excessive strikes you hear in the background of the falsified 911 call. And someone in law enforcement committed a very malicious criminal act by adding all those injuries to and tampering with the body of Kenyatta Barron. The evidence showed you that because my neighbor from across the street, the evidence showed you that because my neighbor from across the street, Mr. Khalil Brown, testified to that. He saw me strike her only 3 times, just like I told you in my opening statement. In addition to that, the medical examiner, Miss Mary Mayland, testified that hitting someone only 3 times couldn't possibly do that type of damage, particularly those 15 lacerations to her head and face. The evidence showed you that not one of the blade, chop, and penetrating weapons had my DNA on them. And FDLE analyst Charlene Webster testified to that for us. The evidence showed you not one of the state's witnesses anything that happened inside or outside of my home that would be sufficient to disprove or refute my self-defense claim. And they all testified to that for us. I told you I made a call to 911, and so did Kenyatta Barron. And they were both tampered with and altered, and the evidence showed you the strategic omission or wrongdoing I promised to show you during picking the jury. I told you that I was going to show you the evidence, and I've showed it to you, and you're going to have it for yourself to look at when you go back and do your deliberation. All of a sudden, these calls go missing from the call log when I ask for an investigation.
Judge, I'm going to object to this repeated reference to him calling for an investigation. There was no such thing. There's no evidence of any such thing.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is just the defendant's closing argument is what he contends the evidence shows.
Finishing up. State has not met its burden of proof, which they have to meet beyond a reasonable doubt. And I have showed you several reasonable doubts. Reasonable reasons to disbelieve what they're saying. Check out the reference. No one objected to the things that I said to my son when I rebutted him and refuted his testimony because they know it's actual facts. I gave them page number, line number, date, and the person who interviewed him. I'm not shooting from the hip. I gave you exact information that was taken by the lead detective, the expert, Miss Jennifer Miller, who's an expert at questioning children who've been through traumatic events, and also my counsel, co-counsel, or standby counsel who was representing me at the time, Ms. Carolyn Schimmerler and Jennifer Sprague, took his deposition. And all those facts I told you are actual facts. They knew that, but they still did not object to their own bringing him as a legitimate witness when they already knew I filed a motion.
Judge, objection.
Sustain the objection. Sustain the objection that's improper for closing argument.
It's all right. Let's go get out anyway.
Okay, Mr. Oneal, just continue on making your closing argument, please.
I told you would find out why Kenyatta Barron was killed. You all seen the pictures of my children. Can I get State's exhibit really quick? 22C. Or 22. State's exhibit 22. This will be fast, Your Honor. I want them to see my daughter. And what I had to see in real time that night.
Judge, again, I'm going to object. This is facts, not evidence.
I'm going to
There's no
sustain the
evidence of what
objection.
he saw.
Please just show the state's exhibit and make your argument from that.
Show you. Bennett.
Train on the beat.
I want you to see my daughter. There should be some more 22. This is 22 L double L. There we go. Thank you, sir. Your Honor, yeah, published state exhibit 22.
Yes.
J, double J. Look at my baby girl. Look at my baby girl. Double K. Look at my dog. And none of you know what it's like to see something like that. They want to say that I hit her 15 to 12 times. I was angry enough too, but I didn't. And that's why I brought Khalil Brown. That's my baby girl, stabbed in the neck, stabbed in the face, burned to death.
Mr. Oneal, it's 12:30.
One more picture, Your Honor. 22 double N. Look how the firefighter brought her out of the house. That's the after effect. You don't see while it was going down in real time. My live daughter burned, bleeding out of her neck.
Train on the beat.
I just have one short statement, and that's it. But I told you you would find out why Kenyatta Barron was killed, and you all seen the pictures of my daughter. And you seen the other day, the pictures that they showed you of my son's stomach cut. You seen all of the burns, extreme burns, 3rd-degree burns on my son, covering 25% of his body. And that's why Kenyatta Barron is dead. But just like any father would have done the same damn thing and moved in the same similar way that I did out of pure instinct and passion. Therefore, if I were to be convicted, it would not be by clear and convincing evidence. I showed you several reasonable reasons not to believe what they're telling you. Check it out for yourself. They they convict me, it would not be by clear and convincing evidence and beyond a reasonable doubt, but by malicious persecution in direct opposition of the 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution, which guarantees that a person shall not be deprived of life, limb, liberty, or property without due process in such a manner as this. Thank you for listening.
All right, thank you, Mr. Oneal. So it's now 12:30.